Ready? മൗനവ്യാഖ്യാ പ്രകടിതപരബ്രഹ്മതത്വം യുവാനം വരിശിഷ്ടാന്തേ വസത് ഋഷിഗണൈഃ ആവൃതം ബ്രഹ്മനിഷ്ഠൈഃ ആചാര്യേന്ദ്രം കരകലിതചിന്മുദ്രമാനന്ദരൂപം സ്വാത്മാരാമം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തിമീഡേ വടവിടപി സമീപേ ഭൂമിഭാഗേ നിഷണ്ണം സകലമുനിജനാനാം ജ്ഞാനദാതാരമാരാത് ത്രിഭുവനഗുരുമീശം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തിദേവം ജനനമരണദുഃഖച്ഛേദദക്ഷം നമാമി. ചിത്രം വടതരോർമൂലേ വൃദ്ധാ ശിഷ്യാ ഗുരുർയുവാ ഗുരോസ്തു മൗനം വ്യാഖ്യാനം ശിഷ്യാസ്തു ഛിന്നസംശയാ നിധയേ സർവവിദ്യാനാം ഭിഷജേ ഭവരോഗിണാം ഗുരവേ സർവലോകാനാം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഓം നമഃ പ്രണവാർത്ഥായ ശുദ്ധജ്ഞാനൈകമൂർത്തയേ നിർമ്മലായ പ്രശാന്തായ ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഗുരുരാത്മേതി മൂർത്തിഭേദവിഭാഗിനേ വ്യോമവദ്വ്യാപ്തദേഹായ ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. വിശ്വം ദർപ്പണ തുല്യം നിജാന്തർഗതം ഭൂതം യഥാ നിദ്രയാ യഃ സാക്ഷാത് കുരുതേ പ്രബോധസമയേ സ്വാത്മാനമേവാദ്വയം തസ്മൈ ശ്രീഗുരുമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഇദം ശ്രീദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ. ബീജസ്യാന്തരിവാങ്കുരോ ജഗതി തം പ്രാങ്നിർവികൽപം പുനഃ മായാകൽപിതദേശകാലകലനാ വൈചിത്ര്യചിത്രീകൃതം മായാവീവ വിജൃംഭയത്യഭിമഹാ യോഗീവയസ്വേച്ഛയാ തസ്മൈ ശ്രീഗുരുമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഇദം ശ്രീദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ. ചൈവ സ്ഫുരണം സദാത്മകമസത് കൽപ്പാർത്ഥകം ഭാസത്തെ സാക്ഷാത് തത്വമസീതി വേദവചസാ യോ ബോധയത്യാശ്രിതാൻ യത് സാക്ഷാത് ഭവേന്ന പുനരാവൃത്തിർഭവാംഭോനിധൗ തസ്മൈ ശ്രീഗുരുമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഇദം ശ്രീദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ. നാനാഛിദ്രഘടോദരസ്ഥിതമഹാ ദീപപ്രഭാഭാസ്വരം ജ്ഞാനം യസ്യ തു ചക്ഷുരാദികരണദ്വാരാ ബഹിസ്പന്ദതേ ജാനാമീതി തമേവ ഭാന്തമനുഭാതി त्येतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाण्यपि चलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः जीवालान्धजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमहा मोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं दक्षिणामूर्तये ग्रस्तदिवाकरेन्दुसदृशः मायासमाच्छादनात् सन्मात्रकरणोपसंहरणतो यो भूसुप्तपुमान् प्रागत्स्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ल्यादिष्वपि जाग्रदादिषु तथा सर्वास्वस्थास्वपि व्यावृत्तास्वनुवर्तमानमहमित्यन्तः स्फुरन्तं सदा स्वात्मानं प्रकटीकरोति भजतां यो मुद्रया भद्रया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये पश्यति कार्यकारणतया स्वस्वामिसम्बन्धतः शिष्याचार्यतया तथैव पितृपुत्राध्यात्मना वेददः स्वप्ने जाग्रति वाय एष पुरुषः मायापरिभ्रामितः श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये भूरम्भास्नो निलम्भरमहर् नाथो हि वंशपुमान् द्याभादिचराचरात्मकमिदं यस्यैव मूर्त्यष्टकम् Now up to we read 29th verse. Ajatam jayate yasmad ajati prakritistataha प्रकृतेर अन्यथा भावः न कथंचित् भविष्यति എനിക്ക് സൂം ഇല്ല. അപ്പോൾ അവൾ വന്നതാണ്. ആ ജയശ്രീ வரலன்னா സൂം ഇല്ല. That's not good. Somebody else should be there.
Sorry, it's redundant. We have recording in live stream and audio recording.
I know, but they want to see me. That's it.
They can see you on live stream, so if they want you to see them,
Yeah. That's the point, yeah. I don't see them, yes. Okay, up to verse number 28. Gaudapadacharya analyzed various other systems of philosophy. Sankhya Darshanam from the Astika group and Bauddha Darshanam from the Nastika group. Astika group theriyilla. One who believes in Vedas. Nastika, they don't believe in Vedas. And by way of that analysis, Gaudapadacharya established that we should not accept an independent external world separate from the observer. When we talk about observer, we are not referring to Vishwa, Taijasa or Prajna. We are referring only to the Turiya. Other than the Turiya Chaitanyam, there is no independent world. Other than gold, there is no independent chain. We don't negate the experience of the world. That will be impractical. We only negate the reality of the world. We don't negate the world. What we say, don't take this as real, that's all. We never negate the experience of a dream because it is very, very intimately available for everyone. So the question is not about experience, but it is regarding reality. And repeatedly what Vedanta says is experience cannot be the proof for reality. Because in dream we see that law doesn't hold good. Dream is intimately experienced, but on waking up we know it is not real. Therefore, Chaitanyam Satyam Jagat Mithya, and that Chaitanyam Ahameva. Very difficult. It looks very simple, but very difficult to accept. Mayyeva sakalam jatam mai sarvam pratishthitam. Kaivalya Upanishad says finally, even Mukta Purusha declares saying that Mayyeva sakalam jatam mai sarvam pratishthitam mai sarvam layam yati tat brahmadvayam asmi aham. I am that Brahman. Advayam Brahman, Dawnwell Brahman. From me alone everything has come. I alone sustain. In me alone everything dissolves. This statement you can make only from Huh? No, your standpoint. I. That connection is to be made. Because Brahman's standpoint is a third party. That third party statement we don't want. That is beginning stages. Now you are advanced. So, Mandukya. Now, after refuting other darshanams, Gaudapadacharya wants to restate the Vedantic teaching because he is worried with the preoccupation with the other darshanams. Ultimately, we may forget what Vedanta says. So, therefore, from 29th up to 46, Gaudapadacharya is condensing the Vedantic teaching which he had presented in the second and third chapters. And in the 29th verse, which we just saw in the last class, Gaudapadacharya mentioned two important things. The first one is that the intrinsic nature of a thing cannot undergo any change. Just like heat is the intrinsic nature of the fire and it never changes. The fire will be hot at all times and at all places and under all circumstances. Why do we say intrinsic nature doesn't change? Because what doesn't change is called intrinsic nature. Otherwise, we would have named it as incidental nature. This is point number 1. And the second point is the nature of Brahman is, the intrinsic nature of Brahman is nirvikaratvam. Changelessness is the nature of Brahman, because Brahman is beyond time and space. Whatever falls within time is subject to the onslaught of time, whereas what transcends time is not affected by time. This timelessness also we have to think to grasp the meaning. Therefore, nirvikaratvam is the intrinsic nature of Brahman, which means Brahman is ajam, unborn. Deshakala atitam, nitya nirvikaram. So, when you say it is beyond time and space, what kind of a concept you form in your mind? Think about it. Time and space, you consider it as an object. You objectify it. Then you imagine you are going beyond. Is it not? By what? By what you go beyond? Again intellect, which is again conditioned, isn't it? But here we have to bring in that pole vault example. Use the intellect and leave the intellect. You still hold on to the intellect and try to grasp. It doesn't work. Mm. Every word is to be thought of. And when you keep thinking about it, then one day you will say, ah, that is what we want. Oreka. Yes. If Brahman's intrinsic nature is nirvigaratvam, it can never become a karanam for anything. So this is the point he is making. If intrinsic nature is nirvigaratvam, nirvigara means parinama rahitam. No modification. Cause means modification. If you say he is the cause, then the cause modified to become effect. Clay modify itself to become pot. Gold modify itself become chain. The same way, Brahman modified to become the world. If you say, then what happened? Parinama. Parinamavadis are there. There is a school, Parinamavadis. They say Bhagavan is the cause, he modified itself or himself became the world. Then what happens? Milk turned into curd. But curd cannot become milk. That is a problem. Moksha is not possible. Because to be a cause, it has to undergo change, whether it is nimitta karanam or upadana karanam. Since Brahman cannot undergo change, it can never be karanam for anything. Therefore, Brahman is karya karana vilakshanam. Karya karana vilakshanam param. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. You heard it somewhere? Vivek Chudamani. Jati niti kulab gotra durakam nama rupa guna dosha varjitam desha kala pariyati vartiyat brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. There are 10 verses, beautiful verses. Therefore, the most important teaching to be remembered from verse 29 is Brahman is akaranam and has never produced a world, and therefore there is no such thing called world. Independently, there is no independent real world is not there. World is there, but they are not, it is not independent. It is dependent upon Paramatma. Therefore, it has no independent reality. It is mithya. Then what is this world I am seeing in front of me? It is a confusion. Solidified ignorance. Now let us go to the 30th verse. Anadi anader antavatvam cha samsarasya na setsyati anantata chati mataha mokshasya na bhavishyati.
न सेत्स्यति अनन्तता चादिमतः मोक्षस्य न भविष्यति.
A very important verse, worth meditating upon the Vedantic teaching. Through this, Gaudapadacharya wants to convey the important idea that moksha cannot be an event happening in time. If you look upon a samsari, and if you are looking for moksha from samsara, you will not get that moksha. And even if you get it, it will not be moksha. Suppose it happens on a particular date, then it will have a beginning, and if moksha has a beginning, it will have an end also. Therefore, real moksha is dropping the notion that I am bound. There is no moksha other than the dropping the notion that I am bound now. Our Gurudev used to give an example. You lock your fingers and sit there. Then cry, I am bound, I am bound, I am bound. Now what is the problem? There's another example I used to give. These people, or the farmers, they grow these peanuts, then afterwards they will keep it for drying. At that time the monkeys will come and take it, you see. So what they do is they put a pot, a small neck pot, and put inside that. The monkey come and take it, and the fist is closed and try to remove it. He cannot remove. At that time the farmer come and give beating. But he will get the beating, but he won't leave that. What is to be done? Leave that thing, and then you see you are free. This is exactly our case. You are holding on to it, thinking that this is going to make you happy, but getting the beating, you don't. Samsara beating. Give up. Don't hold on to it. Mentally give up, okay, not physically, okay. Mentally give up. You can be at home, have your husband, children, everybody around. But mentally that clinging on to them for happiness. Don't expect happiness from them. You give happiness to them, but don't expect them. The moment you expect, what will happen? Disappointment. Adi. Beating. Yeah. So that expectation is not there, then what happens? You are so free. Otherwise, so that's why the happiness, your happiness, the key to your happiness, you put it in somebody's pocket, then you are in trouble. Now, to convey this idea, Gaudapadacharya gives a supposition. It is called Abhyupetyavadaha. Means an assumption. That is, this. What is this assumption? Let us assume there is an external world outside. Naturally, then Dvaitam will become reality. Observer, observed duality. And once you accept this Dvaitam, I will ask you, when did this Dvaitam come? We saw that argument. Or when did this world come into being? If you say Dvaitam has a beginning, then also you have a problem, which we analyzed when we talked about Dvaitavada. Whether karma came first or body came first, you saw that. You will have a lot of difficulty in explaining the beginning of creation. To avoid this difficulty in explaining the beginning of creation, you will have to tell the creation samsara is anadi. Gaudapadacharya says, suppose there is samsara from beginningless time, then I will ask you, will this beginningless samsara end or not? Either way, the person is in trouble. Suppose he says samsara is beginningless and therefore endless. If he says, then if samsara never ends, there is no need of studying Shastra. Because it's not useful to end samsara. No more sadhana, puja, part. It's not necessary. So it is like a materialistic theory. This dosha is called anirmoksha prasanga dosha. Anirmoksha prasanga dosha. And moksha is not possible. Why should I do all the sadhana? To avoid this problem, what do you say? Even though samsara is beginningless, it will end. Gaudapadacharya says, then also you will have a problem. Now, what will be the problem? The end samsara is the beginning of moksha. So you're putting a timer there, isn't it? Conditional clause. Therefore, moksha which has a beginning will have an end also. So suppose you say moksha begins at a particular time. Then it will end also, which means like moksha will be anitya moksha. If you say moksha has beginning, then your moksha is anityam. Anitya moksha is as good as no moksha. Therefore, you should never accept samsara.
When we say if it has a beginning, it must have an end. Is that because of experiential, everything we see has beginning, has end? Is that why we say that?
Yeah, see, if you say samsara as a beginning or the world as a beginning, then if you say it is a beginningless, endless, you can say. But if it is beginningless, endless, then moksha is not possible. Then to answer that question, you say it is beginningless, all right, but it is ending. Now there the argument is, if you say ignorance end, that means what? There is a time it ends and there is a time moksha begins, isn't it? You are giving a time. So that which is subject to time is not permanent. So it is moksha, if it has a beginning, then it will end also. So your moksha become impermanent. This is the problem, logical fallacy. Why? Because moksha is eternal. eternal moksha can never be born. That's why eternal heaven is not born. There is no eternal heaven. How can you enter eternal heaven? It's not possible. That means there is nothing called eternal heaven. Heaven is temporary. Our Shastra is correct. Chine punye matyalokam vishanti. It is a temporary place. Once you say eternal, when all Shastra, all religion accept that. Bhagavan is eternal. Yeah. Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, all these things they say. Think about it. Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. In all these things, all the three, Om is the first. Isn't it? Om. Now they are talking about anahat sound. Every planet has got Om sound. Now science is talking about that. So, all these arguments are there. So the end samsara is the beginning of moksha. Therefore, a moksha which has a beginning will have an end also, which means the moksha will be anitya moksha. So anitya moksha is as good as no moksha. Therefore, you should never accept samsara. Therefore, working for moksha is not for ending samsara, but the notion that I am samsari is the one to be ended. Other than that, don't work for any other moksha. Now look at the verse. Anadehe samsarasya antavatvam na setsyati. If you say samsara is beginningless, it will become endless also. And if samsara is endless, there will be no moksha possible. Second line, for argument's sake, let us assume that the beginningless samsara ends. Then the moksha will have a beginning. Therefore, Gaudavadacharya says, Adimataha mokshasya. For a moksha which begins in time through sadhana, anantata na bhavati. Through sadhana, if moksha begins, there will not be permanence. Therefore, our approach is the best. What is that? I am muktaha. Nitya mutta mukta swarupaha. I am muktaha. I will be muktaha. Mukta ben. This is all tarka, okay? Okay, 31st. Adavante cha yannasti vartamanepi tattatha
वर्तमानेऽपि तत्तथा
vitathai sadrisha santaha
विततैः सदृशाः सन्तः
avitatha iva lakshitaha.
अवितथा इव लक्षिताः आदावन्ते च यन्नास्ति वर्तमानेऽपि तत्तथा वितथैः सदृशाः सन्तः अवितथा इव लक्षिताः.
These verses come in the second chapter. So, in these verses, Gaudapadacharya is repeating the ideas given in the second and third chapters of Mandukya Karika. Some of the verses are bodily lifted from the previous chapters. This 31st verse is a repetition of the 6th verse of the second chapter, Vaitatthya Prakaranam. See, Mandukya has got 4 chapters, right? What are they? Agama Prakaranam, Vaitatthya Prakaranam, Advaita Prakaranam, Alata Shanti. Huh? Somebody consider that this 4th chapter is considered like Om. The Agama Prakarana is waking state. And Vaitatthya Prakarana is dream state. Then Advaita Prakarana is deep sleep state. Then 4th one, Alada Shanti, is Turiya. Hmm?
Is it Advaita Prakaranam Turiya Swamiji?
Don't like that. In sleep also Advaitam.
But why Alata Shanti is Turiya? Because they are negating everything else.
He is negating everything else and establishing finally Turiyam, right? This is one way of looking at it, okay? Now don't think too much. So therefore, Shankaracharya and you see Gurudev also have not commented on this verse here. They elaborately discuss in the second chapter. So what is that? Any product that you talk about which has a temporary duration does not have a real existence at all. Adavante cha yannasti. Vartamanepi tattha. That which was no beginning, no end. End also is not there. No, unknown in the beginning, unknown afterwards. From where we have come, kastam koham kuta ayataha, kame janani, kome tata. Kastam koham. So, who are you? From where have you come? Where are you going? After death, where we are going? Do we know? We don't know. So, something that we don't know, beginning we don't know. Prior to our birthday, Where were we? Mother's womb. Before entering to mother's womb, where were we? You don't know. After death, where we go? You don't know. In between, you are there. He says it is as good as not there. Why are you making such a mess? Such a noise about it. Now take the example of a pot. Before the production of the pot was not there. And after the destruction of pot, the pot will not be there. During the intermediary gap, pot seems to be there. But if you inquire deeply, you will find there is no such thing as pot at all. Pot is a new name given to the ever-present clay. Before the production, clay was, and after destruction, clay will be. In between, what you call as pot is not a new substance, but a new name given to good old clay only. And the weight of the clay is the weight of pot. Thus, every object has got only a verbal existence. Vacharampanam, vikaro namadeyam, mrittigetyeva satyam. This is in Chandogya Upanishad. It is not a substance at all. When you say pot is, the easiness does not belongs to pot, but it belongs to the clay only. To check this, remove the clay from the pot, then you will know. You won't find anything. This is true from the whole creation. Because creation being an effect karyam means it was not there before, it will not be there later, and therefore in between also its existence is apparent, not real. Now when you say creation is not there, you don't start imagining for pralayam and all that. See, in deep sleep, creation is not there. For you. We are not talking about others, it is there. Nocturnal people, it is there. But for a person who is sleeping, the world disappears, isn't it? So that will appear and disappear. That means that world is not real for you. That's the idea. Therefore, when you say world is, it is nothing but a word. And the easiness of this world is not really belong to the world, but it is borrowed from Brahman. So when you become aware of the creation, it is Chit. When you see the existence of things, we call it as Sat. So Sat Chit, mixture. And Sat Chit Anantaha. See, Upanishad talks about Ananta. Shankaracharya connects Anantameva Anandaha. So infinite is the nature of Sat. Infinite is the nature of Chit. Anandam also infinite. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. Chandogya. Only in infinitude there is real Ananda. Wherever there is limitation, there is dukkham. Alpe dukkham. Now, what is Brahman? If someone asks, you can say, what is? That is Brahman. In everything there is an easiness, right? The table is, there is, you is. I is. Doesn't matter grammar, don't worry about it. I am. I is, you are, you is. That existence, think about it. That existence principle is not there. You can't even think. That's why Ramana Maharshi starts with this Sudarshanam. Satpratyaya kinnu vihaya santam krityesha chinta rahito hridakya katham smaramastamamekam tasya smritis tasya dridhaiva nishta. Beautiful verse. Satpratyaya vihaya santam vihaya satpratyaya kinnu. So, how can I think about you, Bhagavan? Because you are not there, I can't even think. See, what a beautiful way of prayer, see. Pratyaya kinnu vihaya santam Desha chinta rahito hridakya. You can say what is, that is Brahman. That easiness in everything. That is called pure existence. The tree is. The earth is. Planets are. Think about the whole creation. Millions and millions of miles away, these planets are there functioning on its own orbits. Who provided them? And all of them are. Now, think about our own earth. It's a small, compared to the whole system, earth is the smallest. And look at the ocean. There are 7 oceans. And earth, 7 continents. Both together, it is suspended in the air. Spinning also. Not even one drop of water is. Pacific Ocean, little drop. What a miracle. Who designed all these things? What engineering marvel. We have so many things to look at it and wonder, okay. Anyway. So every product is a word initiated by your tongue. Therefore, Adau ante chayannasti vartamanepi tat tatha. Then vitathaihi sadrisha santaha. And this world which is mithya, which is non-existent, which is avitatha ivalakshitaha, is considered as though real by the ignorant people. Identifying with the heroine in the movie, you start crying, isn't it? Some people cry. Only in Hindi movies, the heroine come out without or that 100 people will be fighting with him, but nothing happened to him. Not even a scratch. How is that possible? Therefore, Brahman alone is real. There is no thing called world. Means, world is there, experiential. But whatever you experience is not true. You experience sun rising, it is not true. Sunset, it is not true. The earth is flat, it's not true.
Then water will fall from it. If it was flat, water will definitely fall out. Yeah.
But our experience is what is flat. And it is stationary also, isn't it? How is that? You don't need any other miracle. Okay? People are looking for miracles. Oh, Sai Baba brought vibhuti and gave it to you. Wow! Look at the miracle that is happening every day in the creation, Bhagavan's creation. But that is also necessary to bring people also to this path.
They get stuck.
Hmm?
Getting stuck there is the problem.
So somebody asked Gurudev, what is your opinion about Sat Sai Baba? So Gurudev joked saying that, we are professionals, we don't tell our secrets. Then he said, see, what Sai Baba does is, the people who are gross type of mind, they have to see something tangible. Unless they see something tangible, they will not have faith in God. So what he does is, he shows some miracles. So that attracts their mind. Then once they come, what does he do? He tells them to do bhajans. Isn't it? And through bhajan, kirtan and Narayana Seva, these are the only two things they are giving. So with that what happened? Their mind gains purity. And when the mind gains purity, they will come to me for learning Gita. At that time I will teach him. See, what a beautiful way of answering. So he never criticized anybody. I have noticed that. None of the sadhus, mahatmas. And somebody asked him about this Mahesh Yogi. I don't know, you heard of him. Osho. He afterwards became Osho. First he was Mahesh Yogi. Then he became Acharya Rajneesh. Then not Mahesh Yogi. Oh, sorry. Mahesh Yogi is different. Okay, Acharya Rajneesh, and then Bhagwan Rajneesh, then became Osho. In the beginning, he was Acharya Rajneesh. At that time, I used to listen to him in Pune. He used to give talks in Hindi. I used to go for listening to his jokes. He used to tell Mullah Nasruddin jokes. So I used to love that jokes. Mullah jokes. Mullah jokes. I used to remember before long. Now I forgot. Anyway, so this About Acharya Rajinish, somebody asked about Gurudev. What do you think? Gurudev said he's experimenting something. Let him do it. What is your problem? So he's experimenting. Let him come out with his experiment. Fine. So he never criticizes anybody. That's a very great quality, you see. It is Mahatma's quality. Continuing. Saprayojanata tesham स्वप्ने विप्रतिपद्यते तस्मात् आद्यन्तवत्वेन मिथ्यैव खलु ते स्मृताः. This verse is also borrowed from the second chapter, Vaitathya Prakaranam, 7th verse. Here Gaudapada Acharya says, even utility is not a proof for reality. Because there was a question, it is, the waking world is utilitarian, it is useful. But that usefulness also is not considered reality. Vedanta never negates the utility of the world. When a Vedantin is hungry, he doesn't eat Brahman.
Thank God.
It's only food items, isn't it? Just as Vedanta never negates the experience of this world, Vedanta never negates the utility of this world. But Vedantins say, I accept the utility of the world, but I want to assert utility of this world, but I want to assert utility is not the proof for reality. World is useful, but still it is mithya. How do you say so? Vedanta will quote a dream. In the dream also, the food that you eat is useful for the dreamer. You go to this, what you call, A2B. Adayar Anandavan. Alla masala dosha order. Knee roast. Knee roast. You will order it. It is useful. Where? In dream. In fact, in dream food and drink alone is useful. But on waking up, in spite of its utility, we ruthlessly assert that the dream world is mithya. Waking up. In dream you get $1 million. Waking up, what is the use? Even the utility of this world is only a relative utility. It is not absolute utility. Why do you say so? Because this Jagrat Prapancha is useful only for the waker. Only for Vishwa. When Jagrat is shifted to Swapna, this solid Jagrat Prapancha become utterly useless. A baby can sleep on the lap of his mother, and the baby can dream that he is lost in the desert, etc. Because the waker world, mother can never do anything to the dream world baby. So mother is useful or not for her dream world. Relatively useful. Therefore, saprayojanata tesham sopne vipratipadyate. Utility is contradicted. Waking utility is contradicted in dream. Therefore, they are accepted without doubt to be illusory on account of their having a beginning and end. So don't say the waking world is very useful, so it is real. No. Whatever Acharya says, if rope is, snake is real, when you see snake on the rope, some people argue the snake is real, rope is illusion. Now what can you say? Snake is real and rope is illusion. Now to that person what you say? Gautamacharya answers that also. He says, if it is the snake is real, it would have gone. It will not stay. The second time you go with a flashlight, it is still there. That means what? Eh?
Snake is in deep sleep.
Yeah.
Snake has more moksha than me then.
Okay. Sarve dharma mrisha swapne kayasyandarnidasana kayasyandarnidarshanad samvridesmin pradeshe vai bhutanam darshanam kutaha. Now Gautamada Acharya is bringing the idea given in the first verse of Vaitatya Prakaranam. Experience is not a proof of reality. Vedanta is so bold and it says experience is not a proof for reality. Now Vedanta goes one step further, which will make people more angry. The statement is experience is not a proof of reality. Now what Vedanta says is experience is the proof of unreality. Experience is the proof for mithya. Therefore, Vedantic law is whatever experienced is mithya. Yad drishyam tannashyam. That is a postulate. Because satyam is never an object of experience. Any object that you experience is subject to time. Then what is satyam? It is ever the experiencer, the subject. Ashrudashrota, amato manta, etc. Never the heard, but ever the hearer. Never the thoughts, but even the thinker. Bodham bodham pratibodha viditam matam. Kena Upanishad. Shrotrasya shrotraha. Manaso manoyat. Vachoya vacham. Kau pranasya pranaha. Therefore, experience is the proof for mithya. Why? Experience is possible only when it is an object, isn't it? The moment it become an object, what happened? Time, space, condition, finitude. The moment it is finite, then what happened? It is limited. So he gives an example also. Jagrat prapancha mithya drishyatvad. Swapna prapancha mithya drishyatvad. That is what is said here. Swapne sarve dharma mrishaha. All the objects in dream are mithya. The reason is that they are all experienced within limited time and space. One cannot accommodate an elephant in one's head. But in your dream, you can accommodate an elephant. Achita, uchita, deshakala, abhavat. Is it not? Uchita, deshakala, abhava. So it is mithya. Gaudabhadacharya says dream is mithya, and with this dream example, Gaudabhadacharya says the Jagrat Prapancha also mithya. Both are experienced and it's mithya. Continuing, one more verse we'll take. 34. Nayuktam darshanam gatva kalasya niyamatgatau pratibuddhascha vai sarvaha tasmin deshena vidyate. Again, Vaitatya Prakaranam, second verse is given here. This is a repetition, okay. This verse is talking about Uchita Kala Abhavaha. Previous verse talked about Uchita Desha Abhavaha. Here he says dream events are unreal as we don't have time for the real time to happen. The dream is in night time. The person you saw was daytime. Yeah? Yeah, in short time. So the maximum time for the dream is what? 1.5 minutes or something. They calculated. And during that 1.5 minute, You see the whole life. Even when we are in the middle of some temple visit during dream, our travel is not real. Because during the middle of a program, I get up to my own bedroom. That means that temple visit was mithya. Why should Gautamacharya take so much trouble to prove dream is unreal? Because there are certain philosophers who vehemently argues that dream is real. They don't accept dream as a mental projection. They argue that dream is also created by God. And it is specially created for you. Vishishtadvaitin say this, Swapnaha Satyaha Ishara Sishtatvad Jagrat Prapanchavat. Ishara Sishtayo, that is true. Ishara Sishtayo. In this way they argue. Because of such philosophers, Gautamacharya has to prove dream is unreal. We say Jagrat Prapancha is unreal like Swapna. Vishishtadvaitin says Swapna Prapancha is real like Jagravat. They also depend upon same Vedas, Upanishad, Gita. Therefore, Gautamacharya take trouble to explain that Jagrat Avastha and Prapancha are mithya like Swapna. Now next verse also, same idea is, let us take that also and then conclude the topic. Mitratyai sahasamandriya sambuddho na prapadyate. Grihitam chapi yat kinchit pratibuddho na pashyati. This is not a borrowed one, but an extension of thought contained in the previous verse. Our own experience will prove that Swapna is mithya. And Gautamacharya gives an explanation here. Suppose in dream you go to your friend's house for taking an important decision, whether to buy this house or not, or an overseas job to take up or not. Then you talk to him 1 hour and come back home, and then you wake up. This is happening in dream. Now after waking up, you want to know whether the consultation was real or not. And you make a phone call. I met you yesterday and had a discussion. Mitradvaihe saha sammandriya. After consulting with friends in dream, sambuddhaha na prapadyate. After waking up, one does not see that as a fact. Friends were not there. There was no such meeting. Not only that, grihitam chapi yat kinchit. If you have received some gift in dream, wake up, pratibuddhaha na pashyati. One does not see any gift given in the dream on waking. All these things prove that dream state is mithya. Jagrat, so too, Jagrat Prapancha is also mithya. Why? Because it is experienced. Okay. Now you must be tired. Okay. I will stop. Before you get tired, I should stop. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.